Hello and welcome to another Tuesday night. I know it's going to be strange without this, but we're going to do it anyways. And I've got somebody else in the studio. So let me introduce you to my lovely guest. Ashni, let me see. Oh, wait, that's wrong. Say,
Okay.
that's wrong. I didn't try and do that. There we go. Hi, Tashni.
Hi, Louise.
Lovely to have you here. You're very brave, so I'm really impressed with you. It's like takes such a lot of confidence to show up and do this. So thank you for coming. I'm very excited to have you here.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes,
so
excited to be here.
So would you call yourself an overthinker?
Yes, definitely. That's why I'm here. Yeah.
Okay, so Overthinkers Anonymous. We've got somebody else in the room tonight. Look, it's a very common thing. It used to be what I was doing too, so it's very common. But the whole reason why we're having this conversation is because this morning somebody posted this on Instagram. Now, really seriously, I can't look at that and just go like, okay, I'm scrolling. No, I can, but I chose not to. Scrolling past, ignoring this dysfunction here. It's got 2,451 likes. Wow, it's a lot of dysfunctional people. An overthinker must date a communicator. Okay, so really seriously, I'm giving a free book to anybody who can guess what I replied.
Okay. Come see me.
That's a good one, Tashni. I should have said that. No, so what I said was, an overthinker should not be dating.
Oh, yes.
Because, I mean, the moral of the story here is somebody wanted somebody else to take responsibility for them. That's the wrong one. How did I get that? Okay. An overthinker must date a great communicator. Now, what is the great communicator supposed to do? I'm like, really, seriously? Are you supposed to go in and fix the overthinker? Or what's the expectation here? I mean, do you understand this, Tashi? Because I don't.
No, that's
Dysfunction.
I don't. Maybe in the past, I would have thought, okay, yes, that makes sense. Someone else can listen to all my thinking and help me solve it. But now I know better.
Okay, now that explains it much better. Okay, so then the expectation was that everything that goes on in your head needs to come out. It has to be aired. In order for us to feel better, the stuff that goes like up and down, up and down, up and down, revolving the same story back, that story needs to get air. And in order for us, and in order for us to make sense of any of these, like this is the biggest thing why we go to psychologists and we sit there, because it helps us to verbalize what's in our heads. And because until we verbalize it, it doesn't make sense to most of us. So that verbalizing process, you sit there, you pay somebody for an hour to sit and verbalize it, and then you sort of feel that you've got a handle on it. And then if you somebody else listening and helping and instructing you and fluffing you up, then you feel better because now you feel heard. Is that it?
Yes.
And it doesn't work.
Yes, and eventually they get tired of doing that, and then the wheel breaks.
And then when they get tired, so until they're tired, it's wonderful. We have somebody who listens to it, and they're willing to even fix us a little bit. And no, you shouldn't do this. And oh, shame, and poor you, and no, they shouldn't have. And they do all this dysfunctional stuff. And then they get tired of your story because the story doesn't change. It's always the same story. Okay, we might have 3 or 4 stories, but they're all still revolving stories. And then when they get tired, then they start to push us away or they expect of us to take care of ourselves, or they just become short or whatever. And then we withdraw, or we sulk, or we try harder, or we nag them, or we punish them back, and then we in the hamster wheel, right?
Yes.
Did I describe it right?
Yes. No, that's completely true.
Okay. Wow. So glad you're here. Okay, Captain, let's see what this guy. I mean, this is hours of discussion. You'll see why I eventually said to him, no, you know what, I can't answer you on Instagram. I need to have a webinar in order to answer you because you don't understand this discussion. I don't actually even think, not even a webinar. I need to have a summit to answer this guy. So you will see now, because let me put it on, and we're going to read this, and we're going to start going through it slowly. And this is just the first one. There's another two. So how's this for interesting? Okay. All right. So overthinking isn't the worst of it all, depending on the severity of it. Despite it being a coping mechanism or a learned behavior, and so I've answered him, so he's now answering me. Overthinking in relationships can stem from or inflamed by being with an extremely careless, clumsy, and or irresponsible partner, for example. In this case, what is called overthinking is just a natural response in order to keep balance and reach equilibrium. Wow, okay. No, nothing like that, right? Okay, so yes, in the beginning, when we're in victim mode, we go like, this person is causing this whole thing. It's a natural response for me to react like that. This person is doing all that. I need to overthink because they are causing it, because they're doing this or not doing this, and or they refuse to fix me. And so then we go into victim mode, and we don't understand that we don't need to overthink. We don't understand how much we hurt ourselves with overthinking. So that's like the first enormous misconception, that somebody is causing this. No, if you started out being an overthinker, you didn't go and become an overthinker in a relationship. If you are an overthinker in this relationship, you'll be an overthinker with your work, you'll be an overthinker with your family, you'll be an overthinker when you need to tip somebody. You will just be an overthinker, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there's no
Yes.
such thing as, I walked into this relationship and this person turned me into an overthinker. You bad person, you. It doesn't exist.
No, and overthinking doesn't make you feel good. Just as you said it, if it was something positive and something that was going to enhance your life and make it better, it wouldn't make you feel so overwhelmed all the time, and that you're just going in circles in your own mind most of the time. And that's what happens. Yeah, I'm still an overthinker. I know that, and I'm an overthinker in recovery, I think. So yeah.
Yeah, but you're better, are you not?
Yes, a lot better. And I can see that when I'm doing it and I'm going in a circle and this endless loop, and I can go back and look at it and say, no, I can see it's harming me now. I'm not feeling good. I'm not feeling happy in myself. Yeah.
Yeah. So this guy, Instagram guy, he said in the second message, he said, so what do we do about it? So we'll just throw in between little things, but yes, what do you do about it? So the first thing is this one, you become aware you're doing it. And you become aware that you can change it. You're not powerless over it. So that's extremely important. Why would you change something that you go like, that's just who I am. I'm an overthinker. There's no such thing. It's a learned coping skill because it makes you feel in control. You feel in control when you are thinking, and especially if you're intellectual. If you're intellectually minded, you're going to be hitting the books, self-help books, and you're going to look up all this stuff, and you're going to start blaming all the narcissistic people, and you're going to be angry at your in-laws and the people who work with you, and you're just going to be angry at the world and the guy who cuts in front of you, and you go into victim mode a lot, then you need something that makes this world feel like you have control over it. All of us do that. Every single coping skill that we have is for us to regain a sense of coping. Equilibrium for us is when we feel we are coping with a situation. And when we're out, we're always going to look for a way to get back in. And until we have got real tools, we'll use our learned behaviors. So, Instagram guy, I don't know if it's you who are overthinking. You have a very long answer there, so it might be you. You obviously think very deeply. Or if you're with an overthinker. Yeah, I think he's the overthinker. But you know what? The jury is out on that one. Hey, Tashni. So if you are overthinking, you can stop it. Your thoughts are not you. They're not in charge of you. It's just a bad habit. And yes, Tashni, she's a work in progress, right? You're managing to stop it. How many times out of 10 are you managing to stop it?
Now, I'll say maybe 6 to 7 times,
Okay,
most
that's
of the
excellent.
time.
Yeah, that's excellent. And the thing is, don't you agree that the more you do it, the faster you stop it?
Yes. And the quicker you can become aware of it the next time. It's
Yeah.
not easy. You go into denial, and I understand where this person's coming from when they say that sometimes the people around you sort of aid this type of behavior. And especially maybe if you're with someone who's not an overthinker, you sort of compensate for that person because, well, they're not having that many thoughts. You rather just go ahead and have more thoughts for them. And, well, that's not healthy either. So,
That's an excellent way to put it. Yeah, okay. I'm sure there are people there who go like, okay, I know that I do that. Yeah, I used to think a lot for other people. I'm not overthinkers. And I mean, also that, to think that you have to think for other people. No, they're supposed to think for themselves. Unless you
yeah.
want to be thinking for them forever.
Yes. Yeah.
You've got to give up the job.
Hmm.
Okay, let's see what else he's saying. This is very interesting. Okay. All right, and he says, extremely careless, clumsy, and irresponsible partner. Inflamed. Okay, so inflamed is really what we call a trigger. So we're being triggered. And if we are being triggered, we are the one with the trigger. There's a button to push. And so as long as you can be inflamed or triggered, you have a job. As an adult, you need to go and find your triggers, and you have to neutralize it. So if we get to point number 3, as long as the person is aware of it and willing to tone it down. No, that's not where we start. We start with us being aware that we are being triggered, and we neutralize our own trigger. Okay, a good compatible partner has a pretty good chance in easing, helping, de-escalating, and stopping the overthinking patterns. So, isn't that just what we were talking about? Exactly that.
Yeah.
So, if you are not emotionally mature, you're looking for somebody who's going to do this for you. And so here's the aha moment.
Yeah.
Do you need somebody else to do this for you?
No.
Yeah, because you're the one who can de-escalate it. You can learn not to react to it. You can learn that what is my trigger all about? Okay, so what would be a good trigger to talk about? So overthinking. So somebody have just said something. No, I just said something to somebody. And now I am really worried that they're going to be huffing and puffing and all upset about it. What should I do? And shall I go and say something? And yeah, but I was right to say it. And of course they were wrong. And I should have said it. And if they're doing this, and then what? And then we go and we go and we go and we go. So number one, how do I stop that train of thought? Is like, I said something, it's gone. If somebody else is upset, and that person is an adult, their job is to come to me and to say, you know what, that was quite upsetting. I mean, I can have a conversation, I can apologize if I have to, or otherwise I can say, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean to hurt you, or I didn't mean to upset you. This is what I really meant. So I'm sorry you took offense, but that was not how I meant it, because I really like you a lot. Or you can say, wow, that was so insensitive of me. Yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you for telling me. So we've got various reactions, but it's not my job to take responsibility for that other person. My job is to take responsibility for my part. So when I start overthinking, I am usually taking responsibility for somebody else, or I am second guessing myself because I don't believe in myself. So it's a self-esteem issue. It's as big with overthinking as is taking responsibility for somebody else. Self-esteem, huge problem here. If we believe that we've got rights as a human being, and if we have self-worth, and if we like our opinion, and we own our opinion, and we own who we are, all of ourselves, then it's easier to just be and let things fall where they fall, and let other people come back and look at our mistakes and improve and do things differently and apologize, and where we're not wrong, say, I really didn't intend it to be like that, because I like you too much for me to want to hurt you. So it's like that, just calming down into it, just settling into ourselves, and just having the confidence to go with who we are. Am I explaining that in a way that makes sense?
Yes, I'm just thinking. You told me the same things and I used those things in my own life. The one thing was that confront the person and ask them, what do you mean by what you said? And if you can't do that, think about the positive version of events and go with that. Because as much as it could be, yes, a negative comment, and it could have been a negative thought that they had, but they may as well have had a positive thought. So those are the two things I have.
Yeah. So you saying that if you are overthinking whatever somebody else has said to you, don't be a mind reader. Instead,
Yeah.
or second, if you can't ask, just don't assume the worst, and just assume this person was short with me because they're having a bad day, or maybe they were not short with me and I was just a little bit touchy today. So that's what you're saying.
Yes, I am. That's putting it better.
All right. Okay. All right. So let me now go the next one. Okay. So, right. You see how interesting this is. Overthinking is an issue that brings a lot of stress and anxiety to the person and the people around them. But if they are aware and willing to change, they should just communicate their desire with whoever they are dating, see if they can work it out together. Okay, but remember now, this guy have now responded to my remark that I said, first stop overthinking and then you start dating. So now I answered him and I said, no, you're completely right. Because I say to all my clients, start dating, please. If you're not dating, start dating, because you're only going to fix your biggest triggers, which is abandonment, when you are in a committed relationship. So please go out and date. Don't wait until you're perfect. That's never going to happen. We're not perfect. We are works in progress. We get better. No matter what life throws at us, we're going to just get better as long as we're aware and we keep on practicing. So then, and it's true, isn't it, Tasha, that in our relationships, we can have it everywhere, but in our relationships, that is the place where even if we have no trigger anywhere else left, and we feel that abandonment one, we feel a little bit abandoned, a little bit not seen, a little bit not important. Boom, here it comes, and that one can trip us up, even on our best days, and on our worst days, it's definitely going to trip us up. So let's see. Okay, so next chapter in this long conversation. Right. Okay, so question. Relationship-wise, is it possible for a person who lives careless and doesn't communicate well to bring out or trigger healed overthinking in their partner? I don't know. I have to think about this so much. Okay. Okay. Maybe you can help me understand this because you really explained it well to me. Somebody who lives carelessly, so that's somebody who doesn't count their words or their actions, I would presume, and doesn't actually communicate well. Um, to trigger healed overthinking in their partner. I don't know, this is a bit complicated.
I would
Um,
actually like to ask you that question as well, Louise. That's a good question.
okay, all right. Now, can you explain this one to me in other words? Because I don't quite understand what he's saying. What
I
do you
don't
think
know.
he means?
What do I feel him? I feel that if I feel like I'm getting better with my overthinking. I'm much improved. I'm improving. If someone else in my life close to me behaves, but then again, now as I'm saying that, I can hear myself saying, if someone else behaves in a way, why am I reacting to someone else? So
Okay, all right. So wait. Let me see if I understand both of you
let's
correctly.
answer
Because
this right.
then maybe I do. Okay, so if it is like I say, okay, this is where we want the husband to come along, and we want the
Mm,
husband to go. My darling,
mm,
are you not overthinking again? Maybe you can
mm,
let go of it. Okay, like that is not unhealthy. If we go to our partner and we say, I have this habit of overthinking, and I'll be very happy if you help me snap out of it by just give me a signal. I don't want you to fix me. I don't want you to instruct me or anything. I just want you to give me a little signal, like time
mm.
out, or scratch your top of your head, or do the chicken dance, or whatever it is that's going to get my attention, so that I can regulate myself until it becomes automatic. Okay, so that is, do you think that's more or less going where it's going? Do you think I'm understanding it right or wrong?
No, to me, if it's a bit different what I understood from it, that another person can sort of aggravate the overthinker in you and bring it out, even if it's not really, even though you've sort of overcome it, it's still you're still sensitive about certain things, and can they still trigger certain parts of you. And well, I'm saying that because of that's something that I'm currently experiencing, where I feel like I don't overthink as much as I used to. However, some people still are able to trigger certain things in me when they behave certain in certain ways. Yeah.
I could see that was very put in a very healthy way. It wasn't put in a victim mode. It wasn't put in a blaming mode. Like certain people still have that ability. So
Yeah.
and I love it when I get a trigger. Whenever I get a trigger, I go, oh my word, there's something that I haven't addressed. There's something that I have not noticed. Is it something, little something that's unhealed? Let me go and find it. And let me call it by its right name and let me fix it. And so that's life's blessings to us. We're going to get these triggers. Sometimes we can see them, and sometimes we need somebody to help us see them. And the more we neutralize them, the less triggers we have. So, I mean, I don't know if I understand this guy correctly, but the bottom line of it is you have a trigger, it's your blessing. It's your blessing. It's not your burden, it's your blessing. It's telling you you've got a hurt. You are hurt somewhere. And you have to put on your adult panties and you have to go and figure out what it is. And you have to reframe that whole experience. And you have to put a different way of looking at it. Or you have to heal the wound. Or you have to be brave and walk through the fear and go and try something. Now, here you are on live Facebook. Wow. Like,
Mhm.
you walked through some fear. I need to applaud this.
Yes.
Yeah, I need to
I took,
applaud this. This is big. And
yeah.
thank you again for coming. Yeah, I'm really glad you're here because you're really helping me understand this. Sometimes if you haven't got the recent experience, then it's difficult to understand exactly the nuances of a pain and the powerlessness. You know, that feeling of powerlessness, the feeling of you're in control of something, and you don't even have a name for it. So it's sometimes hard to remember the exact mechanism. So thank you for helping me out here. Okay, let's see what this guy says. Okay. 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 You said overthinking is fairly easy to go. Yeah, I did use the word fairly easy. I didn't say easy. It's fairly easy. And how can we do that? And what is overthinking to begin with? Okay, so I'm going to start with his last question, and then we'll go to the fairly easy part. And I'm still sticking to it. It is fairly easy. There are a few. There are a few exceptions, or a few things that needs to be in place to make it fairly easy. Okay, so what is overthinking? It's really quite easy to differentiate it from thinking. Okay, overthinking is when it's the same thing and it goes in a circle, it goes in a loop. So it's a hamster wheel. So you're caught in that hamster wheel. And one of the big things about overthinking is that you're often going to spiral down. You're going to feel more and more hopeless. You're going to suck yourself into a hole of depression, or you're going to cause extreme anxiety inside yourself, or you're going to. Some of us become extremely reactive. So the more we overthink things, the more the words fly and the behaviors fly out of our mouths, and we need to go and punish somebody or the whole world, and then we take it out on who's nearest and whoever is in the way. So overreactivity is also a result of overthinking, and some of us from overthinking completely withdraw, and some of us do all of these things, and whichever one is the most handy one at the time. But we all have our favorites. Okay, so overthinking, what differentiates it from thinking is thinking and it goes in a linear way, and it gets to a result and it stops. And overthinking is when it's regurgitated over and over and over without a solution. So one of the easiest ways in which we change our thinking patterns, and this is why I say fairly easy, because this is, as long as you can stop yourself. Now, that's the hard part. Stopping yourself is the hard part because we've been doing it forever, for so long. Now, why do we want to stop something that we've become so fond of? We've justified it 1,000 times about why we have to do it. And now somebody comes along and says, you've got to stop it. Stop it now. It's not that hard. Stop it. Nila, are you crazy, woman? Stopping it is hard. Finding something in its place is easy. So once you become solution-based, solution-orientated. So instead of going in circles, you say, what is my end goal? And in order to achieve this end goal, I need to reverse the steps. If I want to get here, I need to start here, and this is the steps that I would take. That's thinking. Overthinking doesn't go anywhere. There's no solution at the end. There's just, I'm coming back to the same starting point every single time. And overthinking is victim-based. Somebody outside of ourselves has to change. Somebody has to do something different, or somebody has to change for us to get out of overthinking. And then we'll still go back to it again, because it's not solution-based, so it's never going to have a long-term effect. So I'm overthinking, and then somebody comes and apologizes, and then I'm good for now. And then the same thing happens again, and then and then they come and apologize again, and now I'm good again. So I hand over all my power to whoever is around me, and I've never learned how to speak and how to say. And okay, solution-based is, I don't want this situation to happen again. I don't want to sit around with a long face. I don't want to sit in a hamster wheel and feel sorry for myself. So what do I have to do? Oh, I have to go talk about that. What is it that I need to say? When can I say it? How can I say it? What is the fear holding me back? There's my linear line. Go and say it. And everything changes. And once you've solved that problem, that hamster wheel is gone. Now you don't have to go overthink it anymore because it's gone. And so you can solve all your overthinking problems by learning to become solution based. But I said there was an exception. So sometimes we're completely in denial because we are aware. We're never in denial because we don't want to know. We're in denial because we are unaware. And that's when we get somebody in to help us, somebody who can help us see what we don't see, or we do, or we read books, but that's hard. That's why in my book I've got so many questions. So because there's such a lot of questions there, you can go, I didn't see that. Or there's other people's stories. So that because you can't often see your own story, you can go, oh my word, I'm doing that too. So those are the most helpful things. Let somebody else help you. Your dysfunctional friends are not going to help you. They're just as much in victim mode as you are. If you find somebody who understands this stuff, a professional, they will help you. Otherwise, asking the right questions, that will help. And if you really don't have any of those around, then you take a piece of paper and you write your outcome there. And on the side, you put yourself and you work out the steps and you do it. And that would get you out of overthinking. Is that sounding too simple, Tashni?
No, it's simple, but it's not the easiest thing to actually do. That's why it's hard. I know that. I've learned my lesson, Louise, with you.
Yeah. Yes, but you can only tackle one at a time.
Yes.
And that's the trick.
The other
You
thing
don't
you can do is sit with
say
sit
again?
with an overthinker. If you, as an overthinker, go and spend time with another overthinker, you'll start to realize, yeah, maybe I have a
Yeah.
problem. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it helps if you see it in somebody else. But we don't want to try and tackle all overthinking in one go. We just find one thing that we're in a loop around. My husband doesn't give me enough time. Okay. No, right, that end goal. I want to have more time with my husband. What can I do about it? Day to night. You know? How did I not notice that? I need to sit around here in my victim mode and wait for him to give me more attention. Date night, and don't go throw the flowers in a dustbin, we also do that when we're in victim mode. I think we got through these questions. Maybe there's one more. What did he say there? Okay, I think I've answered much of it. Okay, so how can we get out of it? Do you think I answered the whole thing? I wonder. Awareness to start with, you not your faults. Just a fast recap. And let's go and see. Got some comments there. Let's go and look at our comments. If anybody's got any questions. Thank you, Julia. Very, very happy to help out here. Hi, Norma. I wondered if you were going to make it. Thank you. Norma shows up every week. She's like our number one. She always gets a front seat. She sits in the front row. So glad to see you, Norma. I hope you can hear us. Norma's also the one who checks if she can hear us. There we go. All right. So let me see. Maybe. Do you have any questions? Do you have anything?
I think one thing with being an overthinker, when your partner is not an overthinker at all, it's very difficult. And not difficult, it's in the beginning, it feels like it's not balanced. So the person, it feels like you're not emotionally connected to the person. Because I think as an overthinker, I confuse thinking with being emotionally connected to someone. Like if I share all my thoughts from a day with you, that's like bearing my soul to you, and now you're supposed to give me something back and you have nothing. It hurts. So even when you recover sort of or get improve as an overthinker, how do you bridge that gap now? Because the other person is still who they are, and what should you expect from the partner then in a case like, yeah.
Like, you've just come with the most difficult question of all the questions, Darshini, but okay, fine, let's go with it. So first of all, don't expect anything, but do ask. And then now remember what I said just now. You want connection. So,
Yes.
so first thing to understand is that it's as much your job to create connection. So if you, so first of all, if you have been the overthinker for a very long time, there's an imbalance in your relationship, because the overthinker needs a lot of reassurance and it needs a lot of input. And if you suddenly become self-sufficient and you don't need this, you have to go and tell that person, I'm not this overthinker, but very depending upon you person anymore. I am now actually becoming my own person. I'm liking myself. I've got more confidence. I'm like, wow, I'm here on live Facebook, watch me, so I'm like growing and shining all over the place. So I'm not going to be hanging on your every word anymore. It doesn't mean that I don't like you anymore. It just means you actually like me now. So there's that little bit of reassurance that we do have to go and say to the other person that we are now changing the rules of our relationship. Otherwise, they feel abandoned and then they can start punishing in all kinds of ways. So that's why I like to have both partners around, so we can all understand the rules of the game are changing. And remember, if we originally all signed up for this rule of, oh, please fix me, yes, I'll fix you. Fix me some more, sure, I'll fix you. When one person changes the rule, that whole original balance go out. So just remember that. So we start with that so that you don't have retribution. And then the second one is, like I said, you get out of a victimhood, you put on your big girl panties, and you go and organize a few dates and you create it. The third one is to have open and vulnerable conversations and to say that, this is something that's a non-negotiable for me and it's really important to me. And what can you do about it? Instead of having expectations, to say, what can you do about it? And to get a commitment and expect that the other person will stay with their commitment. And then only once you've done all of these is the time to have the non-negotiables. Like, if you're in a relationship with somebody who is this never home, not interested in talking with you, and no matter what you say and talk and do, there is no connection. Sooner or later, you're going to have to either get professional help, or you're going to have to sit down and have a serious talk and have a non-negotiable talk, which is like, I might as well not be married to somebody who's never home. So today's the day that I'm telling you that I really can't do this anymore, and that I need something to change. And what is it that you can change? And there's like many, many, many different variations of this. I'm just giving a short, light idea of a kind of non-negotiable relationship conversation we can have if we need connection. But if we need connection, rule number 1, don't be touchy. Rule number 2, ask. And rule number 3, put into the relationship, but don't be the only one putting in. Always expect the other person to put in their 50% and ask it. So that's the simplified version, Darshini. Anything more than that needs, that's where we start. That's the general kind of rules. Anything more than that, we need to go into the exact circumstances and the people involved. Then it becomes complicated. Does it help in any way?
Yes, no, that was good. It was practical, and yes, it answered my questions. Thank you.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. I think you have to acknowledge things and your part, my part at least, in any dysfunction. Always come back to that, acknowledging your part of.
It's very
Yeah.
important. None of us die when we say, I've got a part in it, I've been in victim mode or
Yeah.
whatever, or expected you to. We don't die, we just become stronger when we acknowledge it. Okay, so there. Thank you, Norma. Norma can hear us. It's always wonderful. And thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying
Hi.
it. Okay, so hi to Renee. Hi, Renee. Thank you for coming. Nice to see you. Okay, there. So I'm still too scared to say this guy's name. So I called him handsome guy last week, so he's back. So hi, handsome guy. Nice to see you again. You need to send me a voice note or something so I know how to say your name. Okay, otherwise you're going to be handsome guy forever. Okay. Believe it. Oh, wait. Believe that one of the biggest problems to expect from others to. Yes. Oh, absolutely. So, yeah, we definitely. That is where it starts from, and that's why I had that reaction I made the decision to go and comment on a post because it was just like 2,451 likes later. It was just way too dysfunctional form. Why should we keep on perpetuating these very popular dysfunctional victimhood attitudes? Somebody's got to start. Somebody has to start and say, no, enough, people. Let's grow up. Let's take responsibility for ourselves. Let's fill ourselves up so much that nobody has to fix us. Because, how great does it feel? Doesn't it feel wonderful, Dashni?
Yes, it does. It's yeah, definitely. I wouldn't go back.
Oh, okay. All right. So now, you're George. Is that how you say it? I really didn't know that. So thank you for telling me that. Okay, that's so much easier. Thank you. Okay, that's great. All right. So I am going to invite Instagram guy to come and have a look. I think it's going to be interesting. What else should I say to him? Can you think of anything else, Tashni, that we want to say to this guy? Let's say he is the overthinker. What do we say to him?
His best life is still waiting, and
Lovely.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
And um, the very first thing you did to get out of overthinking, can you remember?
It was acknowledging it and actually physically stopping and distracting myself. Eventually, I had to become, because I realized I started overthinking the overthinking. It went into this deeper level of overthinking where I was, oh my word, I'm overthinking now. I'm overthinking about overthinking. So I physically distract myself now. If I see that the loop is not stopping, I physically take myself into a different environment outside, do something. Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, and from my side, if Instagram guy is the overthinker, I want to say to him that the very first thing is to know this: you are not the slave to overthinking. It is not just a given and how it needs to be forever. Now that you have awareness, all you have to work is on recognizing that you are in the middle of something that you can actually choose to stop. And then we choose to stop it by rather becoming outcomes based. Because once you're outcomes based, the loop is broken. And then once you've broken that hold, you can now move on to your next overthinking loop and work on a different one. Okay, so if Instagram guy is in a relationship with somebody who is an overthinker, what do we want to say to him then, Tashni, if he's in a relationship with an overthinker?
It starts with you. You, yeah, that is it. It starts with you. I've been there where I wanted to blame the other person and take away any responsibility on my part. And if that person changed, and if they just became a better listener, and if they just had more time, and if they just got more in touch with their feelings and had more to say, everything would be better in my life. But that wasn't true. So I needed to look at me and work on me, and that's when my life improved. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very powerful. So I want to say that if you are in a relationship, if you either an overthinker or in a relationship with somebody who is, then you are part of a codependent couple. And you have to understand that there are two, co means two. There are two people in a codependent relationship. There's not an innocent and a guilty here. There are two people perpetuating a loop, a hamster wheel. And because there are two people, it takes one person to step out of it. And if it's the one who's not the overthinker, then it's a case of, my sweetie, I'm not willing to fluff you up. Um, I'm not willing to be your safety net. You need to find help, and you need to get out of it because you are worthy of more. You don't need to rely on me to fix you. So that's a very important thing. Somebody has to be willing to give up this hero role because we like that hero role. It's until we get tired of it, we like to be the fixer. And somebody must be willing to give up that fixer. Otherwise, there's not a guilty party. There are two guilty parties. There's not an obvious guilty and not a bad person. It neither are the bad people. Both people have to step out of a loop, and both people have got that responsibility to not depend on the other one in order to feel better. So let's check. We've got some more comments here. All right, Lisa, there, George, another good point, and that's right. Let's start with us. Right, is there any questions from anybody here? Because I think we've covered it very well. I think that, but then of course you never know. Until people have questions, you don't know if you. So there's a big silence there from our audience. Then I'm going to assume that we've made this all very clear. And otherwise, anything else from you, Tashni? Anything else? What would you say to somebody who's an overthinker? What should you do today?
You should be kind to yourself first, because you learned this behavior. It's not your fault, but you can do something about it, and you can improve your life and have a better quality of life, because you deserve a better quality of life. But being good to yourself, because you don't need more people criticizing you in life. You can get plenty of those anyway. So be kind, and it will take time, and be patient. Yeah. Patience is the hard thing for overthinkers.
If we start on this being kind to yourself thing, we can be here another hour easily. Because so many people have a really big problem with being kind to themselves. It's like, I'm going to be kind to everybody else, but kind to myself, you must be joking. I must take out the whip and I must chase myself. And I must just keep on chasing myself more and more and more, and the whip's not even enough, So it's a kindness to self is a if you can't be kind to yourself, it's a big one to start with. You're going to need somebody else to make you feel better. We're coming back to self-esteem, are we not? Working on self-esteem and self-worth. You've done the self-worth challenge, and so that's we did change something.
No, that's how I'm here on live Facebook.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I always start with self-worth, and I say to everybody, you've got to start with self-worth, because until you don't believe that you are worthy of amazing things, normal things that you think other people are worthy of, you're not going to be kind to yourself. You've got to start with being self-worthy. Because if you're not worthy, you're not going to do it for yourself. So self-worth, self-esteem work, always important. Okay, so George says he used to be an overthinker. Well, keep going, George. Keep going. Don't be the slave to your thoughts. Yeah, Julia. Let's be good to ourselves and to others. Yes, very often people who are tough on themselves can be um, unusually punishing to others. And some of us, my laptop is jumping up and down, but people are going to get seasick. I'm sorry, people. Um, I'm I still have a slip disc, so I'm perched on my one cheek, so that I don't sit on my disc. So my laptop is also perched on a box. It's quite an interesting setup on the side. So every time I touch it, then it's jumping up and down. So I'm sorry about it, people. Okay, all right. So a final thought from me is, you know that the way that dysfunctional thought was scrolling past on Instagram. I would like for people to be a little bit more aware that there's so much dysfunction in this world. So if we see something in any kind of way where we want to fix somebody else, or we want somebody else to fix us, hey, that's dysfunctional. We have got the power, because we're adults, and we have a voice, and we have a choice, and we have got the power to speak up, ask, do for ourselves, find help, move past our insecurities, stop our relentless overthinking, replace it with healthier outlooks, want more for ourselves, do more for ourselves, and really change our lives. And this is what you were saying, Tashin, just now, that I loved so much. If you're still overthinking, you're still not living your best life. So you want to live your best life. This is one of the things that you want to do for yourself. You want to pay attention. You actually want to stop it. Yeah. So thank you so much for everybody for coming. I am going to look for that song that I just played at the end now. And then I'm going to play the song. And Tashin, don't go away. We're going to say goodbye after the song is finished playing. And okay, everybody is here now. I want to say to you that any of you who are brave can just send me a message, because any of you can come and join here. I can have 8 people in the studio. We can have long and lively discussions, and especially all of you who've got all these wonderful remarks. You're welcome anytime to send me a private message. I'll send you a secret link. You can come inside. And if you want to ask questions or contribute what you've learned, it's wonderful. Look, you've seen how much it's helped to have Tashin here and her point of view. So anybody can join. And if you are joining us afterwards in the replay, because I know there are people who are saying we are strictly replay people. It is family time, hey? 6 o'clock of the night is, it's a bit challenging. And but thank you everybody for showing up and leaving comments and leaving likes, and just love it. And yeah, I keep on being amazed at how much I love this story. So where did the introvert go to? I'm not very sure about it. But thank you all for coming, and please keep on leaving comments. I always go back through a week and I look. And next week, next week, same time, I'm going to have my friend Marie-Louise all the way from Paris, France. And we're going to talk about loneliness. So because a lot of people are lonely, even in relationships. And so I think it's a nice time of the year to talk about loneliness. So next week, it's Vive la France. And we will talk to Marie-Louise next week. And so same time, everybody. And the week after that, Antoinette's back, and then, we'll see. We'll figure it out on the go.